First video of a brand new channel. So I'd like to kickstart the channel with something light, so I settled on talking about, as the title suggests, my winter 2021 anime list. This is kind of a late subject to talk about at this point, but it's still considered the winter season as it usually ends at the end of February, so I guess it still counts as a relevant topic. Although the only thing it will impact is the amount of attention it gets. But this is going up before winter ends anyway. I initially did not intend to touch the subject of anime until my channel is about a few months old, maybe more, but I didn't have any good ideas for a starting video, so this is as good as I can think of. And it's not like discussing anime early on is going to hurt my channel in any way. So with that said, let's get straight into the list. So I am currently following 4 anime shows for this season, 2 of which are returning for reoccurring seasons or shows that are into their 2nd season. And the other 2 are new animes. So they are Gotobu no Hanayome, or the Quintessential Quintuplets Season 2, Jaku Kiara Tomoezaki-kun, or bottom tier character Tomoezaki, so this is new, Re:Zero Kara Hajimeru Isekai Seikatsu, or Re:Zero Starting Life in Another World, for its part 2 of its 2nd season, and last but not least, Horaria, which is also new. And I actually have been enjoying all of these. I don't think there's any one of them that I don't enjoy at all. They're pretty good and I highly recommend them to you. So by the end of this week, they should have already aired the 7th episode for each show respectively. And I have been following each of them, but I've also been watching previous anime to fill in the void, because having to wait for the next episode to drop kind of gets to you for most people, and sometimes you just can't sit still, so I decided to fill in my time with other shows and other things to do while I wait, so it doesn't feel like I have to just sit down and wait for the next episode. I was thinking about doing a by episode review, but I think right now if I start from like episode 8 or onwards, it doesn't feel right, but I will see how that goes, so I'm not sure yet. So I'm going to talk about some of these, and don't worry, I'm not going to talk about any spoilers at all, but I will include a sort of synopsis for those who are interested to know what they are about. But if you're also not into that either, I'll put a time skip at the bottom for you to skip to, and I will leave a 3-second gap before I start the synopsis, so it's up to you. So I'll start with Quintessential Quintuplets. So it's basically about a high school student being hired to teach 5 other high school students of the same year, and they're actually quintuplets. That means they look the same, they just have different personalities and hairstyles and stuff like that. And yes, there are siblings. So basically he's hired to teach these students as they are actually flunking their exams, so he is hired to teach them, and there is actually more going on behind the scenes as well, but this is as simple of a synopsis as I can put it, and it's pretty good. And despite it being its 2nd season, I would still give the same synopsis to those who have not even watched season 1, and although a lot does happen in season 1, the premise is kind of the same. So I know a lot of the voice actors actually. I know Matsuoka Yoshitsugu, who plays the main character in this anime show, and he also voices Kirito from Sword Art Online, Sorata from Sakura So Pet no Kanajo, I think, Tomoezaki from Saika no How to Raise a Boring Girlfriend, Petegius Romani Conti from Re:Zero, and many more. I know this voice actor a lot, for he has done a lot of stuff. Then there's Inori Minase, who plays Rem from Re:Zero also. Dang, that must have been an awkward encounter between these two. Then we have Ayane Taketatsu, who played Lifa or Sugu from Sword Art Online. Again, another awkward encounter. Ayane Sakura, who played Nao Tomori from Charlotte, and Iraha from my teen romantic comedy Snafu. Then there is Kana Hanazawa, who portrayed Yukino in Garden of Woods and is the voice actor of Edis from Sword Art Online Alicization Rising Steel. So this is just to name a few. I don't know all the voice actors or actresses from the show, but the ones I just mentioned I know pretty well from other anime shows. So moving on to bottom tier character Tomoezaki. This anime is basically about a high school student called Tomoezaki, who is actually the #1 player in Japan for an online game, which resembles a lot to Super Smash Bros, might I add. And while he is a really good player, but as it turns out, he's pretty lifeless when it comes to real life. So one day he meets another high tier player who teaches him the fundamentals of trying to, in a way, play real life as if it's a high tier game, and the joy that comes from it. So I'm not too familiar with most of these voice actor and actresses from this particular anime, but I do know I think 1 or 2. So I know Ai Kayano, who plays Alice from SAO Alicization, Mashiro from Sakura So Pet no Kanajo, Utaha from Saikano How to Raise a Boy Girlfriend, Darkness from Konosuba, though I've never watched Konosuba yet, Ibara Mayaka from Hyoka, and actually a whole lot more, but I won't get into that. Nobunaga Shimazaki, who portrayed Yujo in Sword Art Online Alicization also, and who also played in Nijiro Days. Kayana also played in Nijiro Days actually. And so did Yoshitsugu Matsuoka. What a coincidence. So yeah, I think that's all who I know from this. Now, going into Horaria. So basically Horaria is a story about two people who actually have never interacted before, has no relations apart from the fact that they are in the same class. And one day they interacted with each other, and then from then on they sort of continued to interact with each other because they took interest in one another's personalities, because there is a side of them that they don't really show any others in school or basically outside. And yeah, so their relationship develops from there. And the story also expands its focus on other characters as well, so it's not just those two. So that itself is pretty interesting to me, and actually the trailer sort of emphasizes why I wanted to watch this more. But yeah, so I've been anticipating this one for quite a while. I think even way before the trailer came out actually. I did not read the manga, but I heard it's one of the best rom-com stories out there, and so far, according to most anime fans, they said that the anime adaptation is pretty accurate. I don't think there's anything that's been left out unless if it's very irrelevant. So actually, Horaria did actually receive an OVA way back, I can't remember, I think it's maybe 2014 onwards or something, I can't remember, but that was like, I didn't watch that, but it was voiced by a few familiar voices. So in the OVA, the main character was actually voiced by Yoshitsugu Matsuoka, and I think a few more familiar voices, but I'm not going to get into that. Now for this version's cast of voice actors and actresses, I know a handful, such as Haruka Tomatsu, who voices Asuna Yuki in Sword Art Online. There's quite a lot of Sword Art Online voice actors and actresses in this season's anime. Natsuki Inomoto from the Kokuhaku Jiko Rinkai Renai series, or the Confession Executive Committee Love series in English. Darling in the Fran XX, though I do not watch that. Kaori from My Teen Comedy is Snafu, and a whole lot more. Then there's Momo Asakura, who is mainly a voice singer for the group Trisail, if I pronounce that right, but she's actually done some voice acting as well, such as Ayumi in Charlotte, most notably, Hina Setaguchi from the Confession Executive Committee Love series, and she's in Kaguya-sama Love is War, though I have not started to watch that series yet. Those are the only shows that I know her from, but she has done more. Ai Kayano is also going to be voicing in Horaria, so that's nice to hear. And Nobuhiko Okamoto, I don't recognize him from any anime shows before this, but he does portray Garfield in ReZero. Actually, Hisako Kanemoto, the voice actress for one of the main female characters in bottom tier character Tomoezaki, is also voice acting in Horaria as well. Okay, lastly I'll be talking about ReZero. So without going into spoilers for season 2, ReZero is basically about a high school boy who has been transported into another world essentially, or another universe that is entirely different from our own, with the ability to, how he dubs it as, return by death. So basically that means is whenever he dies, he returns to a point in time prior to his death. So that in itself seems like an interesting synopsis to start off a series. So that's how I got interested into ReZero. I've watched the entire series from season 1 up until where it is now, but I still have yet to watch one of the movies, which is Bonds of Ice. So that is actually going to be important into season 2 part 2's plot points. So I have to watch that before I continue on with the rest of the season. Now, actually looking at ReZero's cast of voice actors and actresses, I'm not really familiar with many actually. I can name a few, such as Inori Minase, who plays Rem, Ri Takahashi, who portrays Emilia, but I know her from other anime shows such as Megumi from Konosuba, but I still haven't watched that. Sumi Sakurazawa from Rent a Girlfriend, Kanojo Okarishimasu, I did watch that. And she is a voice singer as well. I recognize some of her songs she sang before this, but that's pretty much it. Most of these names are pretty new to me. Yoshitsugu Matsuoka is returning to reprise his role as Petil Gibbs from Maniconti, and apparently Haruka Tomatsu is also going to be in the season 2 part 2, but I'm not sure who is she going to portray in the show, so that's still news to me. Be sure to share your anime list for this season in the comments if you feel like it. Since this is my first video, I don't want it to be too long, but I didn't want to just name the anime I was watching. That'd be lame and a waste of time for a video. So I tried to make it more engaging. So stay tuned if you are interested in where my channel goes in the future. Have a nice day and I'll see you soon.